Episode number 892, Infinite Legacy.
You're listening to the official BNI podcast with BNI founder and Chief Visionary Officer, Dr. Ivan Misner. Stay tuned for networking and referral marketing tips from the man who's been called the father of modern networking, along with suggestions and insights into getting the most from your membership in the world's largest networking organization, BNI.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the official BNI podcast. I'm Priscilla Rice, and I'm coming to you from Live Oak Recording Studio in Berkeley, California, and I'm joined on the phone today by the founder and the Chief Visionary Officer of BNI, Dr. Ivan Misner. Hello, Ivan. How are you, and where are you?
I am home in Austin, Texas this week, and this is a special week, Priscilla, because it is this week is the 40th anniversary. January 8th, 2025 is the 40th anniversary for BNI.
Wow, that's impressive, Ivan. It really is.
Yeah, when I started BNI as one group in Southern California, I honestly didn't think at that time that this was going to be a global organization. That hit me later in the year as I saw the chapters just increase like crazy.
Right.
But I decided a couple years ago with my co-authors of Infinite Giving to do a book and have it come out right around the time of the 40th anniversary for BNI. And the book would be about legacy. And so I just a couple of months ago came out with a book called Infinite Legacy. I absolutely love the opening of this book. It's fantastic. And I'll share the opening of the book maybe in a future podcast. I think it's probably one of the strongest openings of a book that I've done. But here I want to kind of do an overview of the principles of leaving a legacy in life. The opening of the book does talk about whether we leave an accidental legacy or an intentional legacy, whether we're just kind of going through life without thinking about the impact we're making, or whether we're leaving an intentional legacy. And I think more and more, certainly as people age, they are motivated to shape their legacy. And I started thinking about legacy a few years back as I seemed to get more gray hair. People would ask me, what do you hope your legacy will be? And my answer has always been, your life is your legacy. How you live your life is the legacy that you leave behind. And with this book, we wanted people to shape the legacy they leave behind. We wanted people to leave an intentional legacy and not an accidental legacy. And so we talk about in the book the 7 principles of leaving an intentional legacy. And the first is to be proud of the legacy that you leave. Everyone leaves a legacy, so be aware of that and create one that allows you to be proud of yours. And legacy is a conscious choice. And by the way, a lot of people think, well, legacy, you don't really lead a legacy unless you're a multimillionaire and you're leaving a lot of money and yada, yada, yada. And that's just not true. We all are able to leave a legacy. I look at my parents who were, we grew up in a blue collar family. My dad worked multiple jobs. My mom had health issues, but they left an amazing legacy. Whatever people skills I have, I got from my mother. My mother was a people person and she would just talk to everybody. And I got my work ethic from my father. My dad was a hard working man and a family man too. And he spent time with us. And so I feel like my parents left a legacy, even though they didn't have money, they left a legacy, and their legacy was how they raised their children, how they raised me. And they raised me so that I could do the things that I have been able to accomplish in life. And so you don't have to think of a legacy as being financially based. It's what you leave in other people that can be your legacy. And along that line, the second principle is give what you can afford when you can afford it. And from here, we mean, give from your saucer, not your cup. I know somebody who wanted to start a nonprofit. They were very entrepreneurial, but they wanted to start a nonprofit organization and commit a lot of their time to this nonprofit. And I said, do you have the financing to start this nonprofit? He said, no. I said, man, you are so entrepreneurial. Go start the business you want to start, make a lot of money, and then financially support the nonprofit that you want to do. You're doing it in reverse. You're going to put in tons of time and you may not have the success that you want because you're not going to have the money that you need. And he didn't do it. He just went with the nonprofit, and the nonprofit unfortunately failed. And so now he's doing the entrepreneurial thing. So he couldn't afford to do what he did. Give what you can afford when you can afford it. As your cup gets bigger, it will overflow. And it'll overflow into a bigger saucer. And so as you're more successful, it can overflow into, and whether we're talking about money or time, as you have an opportunity, maybe you can give more time. It's not just money. The third is to be guided by your passion. And we had Mike Holman, we have Mike Holman coming in a week or two, who's going to be on, and he's going to talk about the importance of your why. And I've talked about why many times. And you got to understand your why in order to align with your legacy. Just know that I believe in passion. It's very important to be passionate about what it is that you're doing. And you have to have commitment. Passion without commitment is just an interesting idea, but you have to have that commitment and the passion. And most of my career, I've talked about it's the importance of following your passion. And I haven't always talked about the commitment, but what I've discovered over time is that you've got to really make a strong commitment to that passion in order for it to be successful. The fourth principle is connecting with your community. These are all the principles that we talk about in Infinite Giving. It's not who's in your story, it's whose story are you in. It's about the people that you've made a difference within your community, and your community starts with your family, and it goes to the street, your neighborhood, to the larger community, to your BNI community, the people that you know in your BNI organization, and then beyond that, the greater area that you might live in. But connect with the community and make a difference. Richard Branson talks about this with circles. You start with a very tight circle, and the circle gets bigger, and the circle gets bigger, and the circle gets bigger. And as you become more successful, and again, not just with money, but maybe in what you do professionally, then your community can broaden. Act with urgency, but act with urgency is the fifth principle, but act like someone's watching. We'll be judged on the legacies we leave, not the ones we intended. And so you want to act with urgency on how you show up in the world. The sixth one is an interesting one. I love this one. It's to think like a stonemason. And in the book, we tell a story about a nobleman walking up to a stonemason and asking the stonemason what he's doing. And he said, sir, my lord, I am shaping the stone, chipping it off on the sides so that it can be handed over, sanded down a bit, and then given to another stonemason who will place it into the wall. And then he goes to a master stonemason. The nobleman goes to a master stonemason, and he says, "What? May I ask what you're doing?" And the master stonemason says, "My lord, I'm building a cathedral." The same exact job, but with a bigger vision. And so part of having an infinite legacy is to have that big vision of building a cathedral, not just chipping away at stone. And I think all too often in our life, we're chipping away at a stone as opposed to thinking about the larger vision that we have for the impact that we want to have. And that's the seventh principle, is to have an infinite mindset. True legacy is not the success of our endeavors, but in the impact that we've made on others. And so the importance of legacy is evident in the way it inspires and motivates future generations. And it can provide a sense of continuity and a connection from the present to the past to the future, giving people a sense of belonging and identity. And we thought that this is the perfect topic for our 40th anniversary, and hoping that BNI is a legacy that will continue to change lives. To me, it's not just a business; it's a movement in changing the way people do business, and that's the reason why we came out with the book Infinite Legacy, which, by the way, hit one of the bestsellers lists on Amazon recently.
It sounds great.
So that's my message for today, Priscilla.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything you want to add.
The only thing I want to say is that the podcast itself has been going for quite a while. I think it's 17 years, maybe?
17, 18 years, yeah.
18 years? Okay,
yeah, I think we started in 2007. So
yeah. So that's kind of impressive too, I think.
Yeah, it is. There aren't too many podcasts that have lasted over a decade, and we've certainly done that. And you've been there since the early parts of it,
Right.
in the first 50.
No, I think it's even like in the 40s.
Yeah. Well, you've now been a BNI member for 21 years. You started, I think you started BNI when you were like 17. Were you allowed to be in BNI?
Oh, yes. I was just a teenager at the time.
Well, I invite people to check out the book Infinite Legacy and think about the legacy that you want to leave in life. And the biggest legacy that you can leave is in the people around you. And I can say that certainly about my parents. They didn't leave a financial legacy, but they left a legacy in me in how I should show up in the world. And I'm very grateful for the legacy that they left.
That's nice.
Thanks, Priscilla.
Oh, you're so welcome, Ivan. Okay, well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for that great podcast. This podcast is sponsored by MisnerAudioprograms.com. And these audio programs will provide you with the tools and the inspiration to powerfully enhance your BNI experience. So check out the great material that's available to you at MisnerAudioprograms.com, and then use the promo code IVAN50 for 50% off of everything. All of the proceeds go to the BNI Foundation. Thank you so much for listening. This is Priscilla Rice, and we look forward to having you join us again next week for another exciting episode of the official BNI podcast.